Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last spring, the government announced Albertans would no longer receive notices in the mail when their vehicle registration was expiring. At that time, I urged the Minister of Service Alberta to have more of a transition program for e-reminders rather than full stop on them.
Of course.
We are now 8 months into the transition, and the Ministry will have collected statistics on the new program. So to the Minister, how many Albertans have signed up for the e-reminders, and what percentage of owners missed the deadline?
Good question. Madam Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member for the question. I'm happy to provide an update. Our new system is certainly working, Mr. Speaker. We have a very large number of the population signed up. Mr. Speaker, it's difficult to say what exactly the percentage of the population is at any given time, given the fact that we've got new licenses coming on. But I can tell you that we know it works because we've had an increase of 62% of registrations renewed over the same time period for the previous year. So that's 1.4 million driver's license and vehicle registrations that have been renewed, increasing.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. For supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that chances are that tens of thousands of Albertans have not signed up for the electronic reminders, and this places them at risk for unintentionally letting their registration expire, and given that Albertans who would never think of breaking the law are inadvertently doing so, and they face fines of in excess of $300 because they did not know about the change in policy. So again to the Minister, what are your plans to improve the communications about the online reminders?
You're here. Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we launched a very progressive campaign that was digital, including sending out automated calls to more than 2.2 million holders of Alberta motor vehicle documents, Mr. Speaker. This cost very, very little for us to do, and we're rolling out a plan to reach all Albertans, Mr. Speaker, and we've been successful. As I've said, we've had an increase of the amount of registrations compared to the same time period last year, Mr. Speaker. So clearly our campaign to notify Albertans has worked.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Second supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that your ministry chose to provide paper reminders to Albertans over 70 for this year only, and given that this transition program ends in April, and given that in our constituency offices we are hearing from seniors complaining about the failure of receiving notices which they have relied on for decades. So to the same minister, with April quickly approaching, which means the end to all paper notices, will you consider re-establishing notifications to all seniors for at least one more year?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will continue to take every opportunity possible to notify Albertans about this change. However, Mr. Speaker, the renewal reminders have gone online. We are in a tough economic time, so we found efficiencies as the opposition has asked us to do, Mr. Speaker, and this is one of those efficiencies. There are still many avenues open to Albertans to find out what dates their licenses or registration come up for renewal, including looking at the sticker on the back of their plate, marking it on a calendar, or signing up through an online renewal reminder. And many of our partners, including the AMA, have assisted us.